Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
This morning, I urge you to think and remember someone you need to talk to today. You may not be able to tomorrow. Here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America, followed by a patriot to call in with our Pledge of Allegiance on a Thursday. Good morning to you. And a good morning, everybody. Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with a great big huge fall tire sale going on right now. And of course, don't forget some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance on this Thursday. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Doug, I always appreciate the job you do. Thank you, sir. Have a great day. Thank you so much.
You bet.
All righty. Weather forecast right now brought to us by K&R Rental, and I know that you're probably like me, ready for some sunshine and a little warmth. Well, K&R Rental brings us the weather. They're located at 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn, right there on the Burley-Paul Highway, for all the best of tools and equipment. Yep, rental on all the tools and equipment you need, whether it's tillers to kind of turn up those gardens before the cold weather in the winter sets in, or maybe you need some compressors to blow out those sprinkler lines. They've got them all of it at K&R Rental on the Burley-Paul Highway. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Looks like we're finally going to dry out today. Here's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. We do have a slight chance of rain showers in the morning, but other than that, we are looking at partly sunny skies for today. Winds out of the north, about 8 miles an hour. High of 51 is what we're looking at tonight. Patchy freezing fog, especially in the overnight hours. Mostly clear skies with a low of 29. That patchy freezing fog could carry over for tomorrow morning. We are looking at sunny skies with a high of 57 as we kick off the weekend. Winds are picking up out of the east at about 13 miles an hour. Clear skies for tomorrow night with a low of 31 as we make our way towards Saturday. Sunny skies and a high of 56. Mostly clear for Saturday night with a low of 26. Then by Sunday, sunny and 50. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. And brought to you to start things off this morning by K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn, right there on the Burley-Paul Highway. They get there early in the morning at 7 a.m. to serve you, Roger and the crew. Number to call, too, 678-3122, K&R Rental. Merv May, come on in here for a minute, would you please?
Hey, good set of steer calves there, here to get all 31, 31, 32.
That's the chant of the world's best auctioneer, Merv May, at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley, the sale that works for you. Merv May, Cade Rogge, and Lance Udy, all of them, and sale time this morning at 10 a.m. Here's a partial list of some of the cattle coming through the ring today. Joe Tate over to Sequel. Hello, Joe. He's bringing in 40 head of 750 to 800 pound heifers. Bar T Ranches out of Utah bringing in 80 head of real good calves. Ken Rigby of Montpelier bringing down 60 head of mixed calves. And, of course, they're going to have a lot of butcher cows from P-Bar S Dairy, Acme, Funk Dairy, Antelope Hills Dairy, and all of this comes to a great big halt and start, I should say, at 10 a.m. this morning. Yep, that's when they'll bring the gavel down and Merv will start chanting and selling at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard. The sale that works for you, the number to call for cattle consignments and sale information, 678-9411. Merv, sell those steers.
All right, a good set of steer calves there. Here to get $1.30, 1 and a half, 30, 1 and a half, 32, 2 and a half, 3 and a half, 134, 4 and a half, 5 and a half, 5 and a half, 130, 550, 135 and a half, selling $1.35. Zeb Mel gets bottom again.
Thank you, Merv. And while I've got just a moment here, I also want to acknowledge our dear friends over at Ramsey Heating and Electric, and they have been in business for over 6 decades. I mean, boy, think about all the businesses that are here today, gone tomorrow. Not them. They've been here serving you for a long time with all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs, and they're planning on being here for a heck of a lot longer, too. Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Number to call, 678-0459. They're open 7:30 to 5 Monday through Friday. Don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric. If you will allow me just to have a little personal note this morning, I started off the show by saying, think and remember someone you need to talk to today. And I might have a little hard time getting through this, so bear with me. If you have an opportunity to call or write someone that is gravely ill, I ask you to do it right now. Yesterday, I had an occasion happen where a very, very good friend of mine has been down and not feeling well for quite some time. Had a stroke about 10 days ago, and then in the course of medical examination, they found out that he was filled with cancer with not many more days to live. I had talked to him and sent him a card and everything. Lives down in Texas. And I was going to call yesterday afternoon. And I said to Deanne, do you think that maybe I should not call? I might be a little intrusive because of all the things that are going on. And she said, no, he'd probably like to hear from you. Well, as one thing happened after another, the phone rang, and then all of a sudden I got sidetracked with some other things and didn't call. I had a phone call early this morning that he died last night. He's been a good friend of mine for a long time. As a matter of fact, since 1982. Ricky Green, NFR team roper. Ricky and I had a lot of fun together, a lot of good visits together, and he died last evening. And I'm just telling you, folks, don't put off till tomorrow what you should do today. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to remind you about Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley. Yes, it's true. It's America's Diner. And they also have another location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Absolutely great eating for breakfast, lunch, and or dinner, and I urge you to get in there and enjoy the very nice people that are going to be serving you and the excellent menu choices. They are the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch, and we're going to be over there for that great big Halloween lunch bunch on October 25th. Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley. Great food, America's Diner. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. You know, I'm really sorry to hear about your loss of your friend. And it can happen at any time, and I think the advice you gave us is excellent. But the one thing I wanted to mention this morning is they're at it again. And I'm talking about the U.S. Postal Service. they want to raise the price of stamps again. What is wrong with this company?
Well, it's very poorly managed, and there's kind of they've got us captured, if you will, as a captive audience. We can never think about trying to have a privatized system. I don't think it would work. The U.S. postal system needs to be run like your business when you were in business and my business. I'm very strict about the payables. I'm very strict about where my money goes. And unfortunately, the United States Postal Service is not run in accord with good business practices.
Well said, my friend. But, I've asked you this question before, and I never have got an answer from you or anyone else. I've asked many, many people. Who owns this post office anyway?
Well, the United States Postal Service, that really, and I'm not going to be one of these phony crony talk show hosts that knows everything. I don't know, but I'm going to look that up, and I'm going to find out the origination, the ownership, and what about us, the United States citizens that pay our 50-plus postage stamps, the cost and everything. I'm going to find out, and you know what? I'm going to make a demand to you to remind me so that we go into that Monday on the program, okay?
Okay.
I appreciate it.
UPS and FedEx and them are very well-run, efficient companies. Now, I'll tell you a quick story.
No, I don't have time for a quick story, Keith. I've got too many people waiting, and I've got to get this taken care of. But I do, and I will, follow up on this later on today.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
Bye.
Caller, I'll be right with you. Stand by, please. I want to remind everybody about Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. And Nick Greenwell heads up all the physical therapists serving you. And serving is the great word because they help you maybe recoup from a surgery, an accident, all the bumps and bruises, aches and pains. They can, and they will help you with the hydrotherapy pool and all the exercises. You, call today at 678-1191. That name, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. That address, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, and I don't mean to upset the apple cart. I just want to say my condolences for you. I did not know this gentleman, and I just mean it in a heartfelt way that you have a super, super nice, wonderful day, okay?
Thank you. That was very nice of you. Thank you. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank
Have
you.
a good day, Zeb. Bye.
I don't want to beleaguer this fact either. It's not fair to you, the audience, but I just will say that a couple of years ago in Wickenburg, Arizona, it was really kind of a funny instance, and we often talked about it, that world's champion bull rider Charlie Sampson, myself, and Ricky Green, we sat around on some lawn chairs on the edge of the arena and started telling rodeo stories for all the years that we've been involved in professional rodeo. And pretty quick, we happened to look around, and my wife noticed it, and there was about 20 people standing there. Then pretty soon, and I've got a picture to prove this, then pretty quick there was about maybe 50 to 60 people standing around listening to the stories. And it was one of the most cherished moments that I'll ever have the rest of my life. Ricky and I and Charlie, and we're telling all the rodeo stories, and everybody is just having a good time. It was really time well spent, and time that I'll miss. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587, and I would appreciate your calls, please. Don't forget on Tuesdays, Stoats Equipment Company. Your John Deere dealer has, of course, the Ag Minutes at 9:46 in the morning on Tuesdays, and we certainly appreciate Stoats Equipment Company at 119 Overland and Burley with Vic and the whole crew. They do make your life easier. Stoats Equipment Company, your John Deere dealer. Caller, good morning, and thank you.
Good morning, Zeb. I just want to make a little comment here and ask you a question. I live in a adult community place here in Rupert, and we haven't been able to get mail for the last 3 months. We have to go get it ourselves.
We got a lot of people in there in their 80s and 90s. And
yes, sir.
Anyway, I just don't think it's right.
Well, you know, I'm glad you're bringing these points up, and I'm glad that Keith mentioned it a little bit ago, because I think that there has to be scrutiny. There has to be some definition as to what the services are for the postage that we pay. And like in your case, talking about seniors that have to go get the mail when they're at a senior living center, all of these things are going to bode me to take on a program this next week, and I'll try to get into it. I'm going to devote the time to try to get some of the answers and try to find out exactly why some of the services have been curtailed or not even offered. So, sir, all I can tell you right now at this juncture, I'll do my best to find out, and we'll put it on the air.
Okay, and I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Real quick. A lot of people is going to go to the polls in November and don't know anything about that Proposition 1. What is your opinion?
I'm absolutely in favor of Proposition 1. I'm going to vote yes on Proposition 1. I've had it on my program a week ago. We did a complete study of Prop 1 and Prop 2 in two different programs. And for those that are out there saying on television and radio that Prop 1 is going to be a enhancement of more gambling, that's a lie. These terminals will only be allowed on the historic races to be at bona fide racetracks already in existence that have race dates. In other words, you would have to go to the racetrack to a special room and building to go and participate. They're not going to be at your Piggly Wiggly supermarket. They're not going to be sitting on the street corners. And the enhancement of gambling by the negativity is not going to happen. It is going to help the horse industry en masse for the trailer sales, tax sales, everything. We need to bring back an industry that's been very important to the state of Idaho. I'm voting yes on Prop 1. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir, it does, and I thank you very much.
All right, sir. God bless you for your call. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. I'm really bitter about the anti-advertising on the Prop 1. I call it sleazy advertising because it's not true. I'm asking you to vote yes on Prop 1. I really am. Calls welcome 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. And keep this in mind also. Nobody is forcing you off your front porch at gunpoint to go and put any kind of gambling measures at a racetrack on historic races. It's something that can be offered at the racetracks for those that want to participate. Remember that. And the income and the economy is all going to help not just the race business, no, but the entirety of the horse business, which, by the way, if you don't know, is one of the most advantageous and lucrative economic values to the state of Idaho. Don't forget the Bennett boys are going to have a great big auction this Saturday. It's going to be the Walker and Jean Carr Estate Auction. It starts at 11 o'clock on Saturday, October 13th, this coming Saturday, located just a little bit south of Twin Falls. As a matter of fact, from the Pay and Pack corner, you go south 2 miles, then east on 3600. Now, look for the signs by the Bennett, excuse me for coughing, I can't get rid of that cough, Bennett Boys Auction Service. It's going to be the Walker and Jean Carr Estate Auction, tractors and trailers and farm equipment, all kinds of great shop tools. I know the family, and this equipment is really good equipment. Livestock items, furniture and appliances, all of this and more. Managed by the Bennett Boys Auction Service this Saturday, just a little bit south of Twin Falls. Bennett Boys Auction Service. No sale too big, no sale too small. The Bennett Boys, they sell them all. Absolutely. Oh, my goodness, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Yesterday, a very dear friend of mine called me with a question. And I think the question was outstanding in the way she presented it. And I want to give a lot of tribute to a lady that fills in for me when I leave. I hire her along with Gina to do my program, and that's Sharon. And I'm going to pose the same question to you this morning, and I'd like to get some answers. Before I do, I want to remind you, Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox offering great products that can help keep you comfortable and possibly save you a lot of money. Don't forget, Ramsey Heating and Electric is offering up to $1,600 in rebates on qualifying equipment purchases. So please find out more. Call them at 678-0459. And don't forget, Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Over 60 years of service to you. Yesterday the phone rang and it was Sharon, and I really appreciate her call. And we talked, and she said, we were talking about all the businesses in this area. And for that matter, I can tell you all across the United States, people and business owners are looking for people to go to work. We've had a job opportunity with my company for a year and a half. I know many of my sponsors and advertisers on this program that share the same dilemma. We can't find people to go to work. There are more jobs, supposedly, than people. And the question that Sharon brought up, and I think it's a question that really bears... Hold on a minute, caller. Let me just finish my statement here, and I'll get right to you. With all the illegal aliens and all the refugees coming here to the United States and here to this area, why are there so many jobs available if these people are going to be contributing by working and enhancing our economy and our taxes? Why have we got so many jobs available? Think about it, and we'll talk about it some more. Caller, good morning. Quickly, you're on the air. They hung up. Okay. Well, that's, I hope they'll call back. If we're bringing in refugees with no skills, and we're footing the bill on clothing, food, and, of course, transportation, and everything else, and basically they're not contributing to this area's economy en masse. I'm not saying that certain ones don't, but en masse. What economic value are they to you and I as taxpayers? Because we still have all the jobs on the signs. Help wanted. Inquire within. And I know this is true for so many people. If they're coming here illegally or basically, sneaking across the border, again, what benefit are they? What are the pluses? What are the pluses when we have so many jobs available that employers are seeing a reverse action right now to where they've got so many job voids that haven't been filled that they're having to cut back on their business? I know a lot of businesses that are cutting back because they can't fill the employee numbers. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning again. Try to answer your question is the fact that a lot of people say you're offering the job for somebody for minimum wage, which I know you were not. You were trying to help somebody get a living wage. But these people look at it like, I got to drive 10 miles to go to this job, and I just can't afford to do that. So I'll sit at home, and if I can draw unemployment, I will do it.
Well, right there I'm going to stop you. Right there I'm going to stop you because I need to make a comment, and I think you'll agree with me. We have made it, we the American public have made it too easy to have a little hardship, take on a little strife and a little worry and a little extra work, and we've made it too easy for many people to stay home and not be contributing.
Well, that is a good point. Also, there's another factor. With women who have children, they have to obtain babysitters or child care or whatever, and they'll just say, well, by the time I pay all that and everything and my gas to get to work, I haven't made any money.
Okay, but let's be really hard and cruel there, Keith. Let's be really hard and cruel at that point. That's not Keith Cottom's fault. That's not Zeb Bell's fault. It's not anybody's fault or any other person's concern or worry, really. We've all got to start taking more of our self-responsibility. I don't know if it's a divorce. I don't know if the husband died. I don't know if the husband ran off. I don't know what happened in that particular case. But you know what? We can help as much as we can, but you can't always let people be recipients. You have to draw a line sometime and say, you've got to develop your own responsibility.
That comes back to the old saying, you need a hand up and not a hand out.
Amen. Amen. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I'm looking at a situation here in this country right now where you know as well as I do, there are able-bodied people that if they would stop some of their maybe negative living habits, I'm talking about drug usage or over excess in alcohol, maybe they would be the bona fide good employee that a certain business is looking for. But right now, it's too easy to stay at home, put your feet up on the coffee table and say, hey, the world's feeding me, let them keep on feeding me.
I got one good instance. I know of a lady, and she's a wonderful person. She went through an ugly divorce and everything, and she had 3 kids, and this is what happened. She couldn't afford to go out and get a job because of her babysitting and everything like that. So what did she do? She got a license to take care of child care. And she did very well at it, but she didn't let it go at that. She went on to get her teaching certificate, and now this lady is making a tremendous accomplishment, and I love her for that, and that's just a good example of what can be done.
Well, the whole thing boils down to self-responsibility. We can rail and rail on forever on this program, but you know what? Self-responsibility to take care of yourself, take care of your family. Everybody has negativity in their life. It may be an illness. It might be something that has stopped them or curtailed them from going down certain avenues that they wanted to do ever since high school. But you know what? You got to reevaluate. You've got to sit down and say, okay, this hit me in the face. Life kind of slapped me a little bit. I'm going to try to do this. I'm going to better my situation. I absolutely have no compassion, none, for people that sit back and say, oh, gee, nobody likes me. I'll just sit here and take the dole that's handed to me, and I'm not going to buy into that. I honestly believe that we all have talent. I honestly believe that we can pull ourselves up by our own bootstraps. Yes, you're going to have occasions where people with bad health, etc., they can't. But I'm saying most people, Keith, can always try to better their situation if they'll try.
Absolutely right. And I've seen it in many cases where people have taken a hardship and made it into something special and made a better person out of them, and they had a better life.
I agree. Thank you for your call back. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You know, I've talked to so many business owners and managers that are saying, hey, come on. What are we doing here? We're bringing people in, but we're not filling the jobs. Sharon's perception when she called me on this was absolutely the truth. I mean, with all the people that are coming into this country, yesterday we talked about 22 million illegal aliens coming into the country. What are they doing? Where are they going to work? What benefit? And then we talk about all the refugees coming in, like in Minneapolis with the Somalian problem right now. What are they doing? How are they getting their money? You know, all of this sounds good from the Jim Joneses that write editorials in the Times News and everything. But you know what? The bottom line is, what about you and me? The taxpayers that are getting up in the morning, going to work, get the paycheck, try to make ends meet. What about a little thinking for us? Calls welcome, 436-2244. Believe me, I know how to make enemies in a big hurry, and that's okay, because I'm going to stand up for business that's trying to fill jobs with quality employees that don't seem to be out there very much anymore. Minnecasia Hearts for Seniors with Holly Rowe and the excellent staff, 135 East 23rd Drive in Burley. Number to call and find out more about what they offer for seniors, 312-5715. And if you're a senior that wants to stay home, they can help you with meal prep and personal hygiene, light housekeeping, companionship. They really care about seniors that want to stay in their home. Contact them for more information, 312-5715, or go to Holly at heartsforseniors.net, and they can and they will help you. Thank you very much. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Good morning, Zeb. I hope that you have a beautiful day today, that something really wonderful happens, and it may just be memories of your dear friend that you lost. I'm so sorry that happened.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. You know, there's another thing that I've heard people who have had businesses say, and I don't know how much this may figure into what, but this is a very good question. He said, and I've heard this from others, that the work ethic is not the same as it used to be, that people want to start at the top and they don't want to come up from the bottom.
That's right.
They want a really good wage, and I hope people do get a good wage, but there's not the desire to work and really put in the time. And I thank God that after months of looking for a job, my son finally found one, and it's the only one that came through. He's out in North Dakota working on the oil patch.
Linda, let me ask you this.
The work he has ever done.
Let me ask you this.
Sticking with it.
Let me ask you this question. Why should the onus always be put on the employers? Oh, how much you're going to pay me? Well, how many days am I going to get off? How many vacation days and all this kind of stuff? Wait a minute. This is an unproven commodity, and that unproven commodity is the person that you're hiring. Why in the world should the person offering the job, the employer, the job owner, why should they be on the hook to answer, well, we'll give you this off and we'll do this and we're going to start you at this great wage? Wait a minute. They don't even know if this person's got a work ethic or any of the attributes that are going to be a plus for that business. And they're clamoring and stammering for all these great wages? I don't buy that.
Well, my son saw the same thing. The first 2 to 3 weeks he was out there working before he came home for his first rest period, the guys on the crew wouldn't talk to him. The time he went back, they were his friends.
Yeah.
And they've looked out for him and helped him, and he's worked for that team, and he's on a wonderful team out there.
Good.
It has just fallen together. But there was that same thing. He was unproven. They didn't know whether they ought to invest friendship in him because was he really going to come back?
There you go. You know, I've got to reach out and say to the employers, the job owners, the company owners, etc. Wait a minute. We're hearing this clamor about, minimum wage, $15 an hour on an unproven commodity, an unproven person that absolutely might just be out of high school, has no work ethic, has no track record, and they're making the demands to make $15 an hour or more?
Yeah, you know, that is a very good point. I love that unproven commodity.
Linda, I got to run, but I wish you and your son and everybody a great day, and your comments were very well received. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. How many days do I get off? I mean, what do I get for benefits and all this? Do you have health care? Oh, wait a minute. What are you going to do for me? What are you going to do for me, the employer? What's in it for me to hire you? And how dare you sit there and say, well, I want to come in and flip burgers for $15 an hour and I won't work for anything less. Good, goodbye. Caller, I'll be right there. Don't forget a special feeder cattle sale coming up on Saturday, October 20th at high noon at Producers Livestock in Jerome. Don't forget that special feeder cattle sale on Saturday, October 20th. Choice cattle. And there's not going to be any dairy or dairy cross cattle. These are choice feeder cattle. It's a special sale. Contact Producers Livestock at 324-4345 for consignments or call Dan Schiffler at 539-4933. That's coming up on Saturday, October 20th. Don't you miss it. Caller, you're on the air. Good morning.
Hi, Deb. This is Chris, and I've called you with the same argument before again and again. You know, the farmers have really good jobs, and they pay really good. And usually, I mean, the majority of the time, when you take your check to the bank, it works. It cash.
Absolutely.
And the sad thing is we only had 2 boys. And one of our boys got hurt in an accident, so he couldn't go on a career in farming. But our oldest son went to the University of Idaho and got a degree. And he's our main man. And he's just back making a really great living. And we need many hired men. And one year, several years ago, we got a young man who was green behind the ears, and he wanted a job, and he came to work. And he was so good that he got a full-time job, and we just love him, and we've kept him on forever. The problem is, when you talk to some of these young people, well, what kind of a day do I get? Do I get 8 hours, or do I get 12? Or what can I work on? Do I have to work on weekends? Can I, have a vacation? First of all, in an agricultural economy, those are not even questions you should even be asking, because the farmer is out there from dawn to dusk and sometimes in the middle of the night, and that's just the way it is. So if you come to work for us, this is what you have to do.
Yep.
And we've got wonderful employees, and they come back again and again, but they come from another country because they want to work. And sadly, our kids are not brought up to work.
But, okay, right there, let me interrupt you, Chris, real quick, because you can see I'm short on time, and I've got other calls waiting, and I want them to get on the air also. But I've got to ask this question. What can we do right now? You and I are in the same age bracket. What can we do? What didn't we do? What did we let drop that absolutely killed the work ethic in America? What happened to it?
The Me Too months, they want it all. They want it all because Mom and Dad have it, so I should have it too. And sadly, we started working at the bottom of the rung, and everybody who is really successful started at the bottom.
Yeah.
You can't just be at the top from the first day.
I appreciate your call and comment this morning as always, and thank you very much for calling in, Chris. I've got to get some other folks on, but thank you again. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Caller, I'm going to take your call quickly, and then I'll go to the weather forecast. Go ahead, please.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. The bottom line is liberalism. If you don't want to work, you don't have to work. Just go down to the welfare office, and they'll put you on their roll, and you'll be getting a check without doing anything for the rest of your life.
Unfortunately, and I'm going to ask Wheels over at the station, maybe turn the caller up just a touch in my headsets, please. Unfortunately, you're right. But, Tony, you've been on this great earth a little longer than I have, and you've seen some devastating and negative things, the Great Depression, etc. What happened to us? I mean, really, what happened to the generation of saying, hey, Johnny, I don't care if you want to go to college or not, but whatever you do, do it well, feed your family, take care of yourself, have your own self-responsibility, pull yourself up by your own bootstraps, and make something of yourself. What happened to that?
Well, you know, in the old days when I started out working, you either cut the mustard on the job or you were out. Today, the people can work a short time, and the next thing you know, because of this liberalism, they're eligible for welfare.
Yeah.
This is what's at the bottom of this whole thing is liberalism.
Well, I can't agree more with you. I think you're absolutely 100% correct. But, you know, we've got to do something. We've got lazy, and I'm going to call it the way I see it. We've got lazy, very terminal, no-job attitude people out there. Never going to go to work. I'm making too much money and having a good life living on the dole. We've got to stop this somehow. Now, I'm also going to interject that we do have certain numbers of people that need our help, and I respect that. And I'll do all I can to help them for the time necessary for them to get back on their feet. And this is what's leaching our society. Most don't try to get back on their feet.
Well, you and I can't do the thing. Where the problem is with these politicians. It's going to be the citizens who put Trump into office are going to have to do the same thing with these lollipop politicians we have that are making it so easy for people to get on welfare and stay there for the rest of their days.
Yeah. Tony, I appreciate your call. As you can tell, I'm running late on my weather, and I got another one waiting. God bless you and Mary. Thank you. And I forgot to call you. I will later. Thank you. All right. Callers, stay with me, please. I've got to get a weather forecast in here. Yours truly is way behind. I'll be right with you, I promise. The weather brought to you this hour by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, and they are right behind the Minidoka Hospital across from the emergency room. And the number to call for a hearing screening appointment, I urge you to do that. They help me. They can help you. 312-0957. I bit my tongue twice. Exceptionally great hearing doctors that understand the problem and can help you. And I urge you, for all your needs as far as hearing is concerned, call them. They can and they will help you. 312-0957. I'm going to let Gina come in with the weather while I heal my tongue. I bit it twice. Go ahead.
Looks like we're finally going to dry out today. Here's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. We do have a slight chance of rain showers in the morning, but other than that, we are looking at partly sunny skies for today. Winds out of the north, about 8 miles an hour. High of 51 is what we're looking at tonight. Patchy freezing fog, especially in the overnight hours. Mostly clear skies with a low of 29. That patchy freezing fog could carry over for tomorrow morning. We are looking at sunny skies with a high of 57 as we kick off the weekend. Winds are picking up out of the east at about 13 miles an hour. Clear skies for tomorrow night with a low of 31 as we make our way towards Saturday. Sunny skies and a high of 56. Mostly clear for Saturday night with a low of 26. Then by Sunday, sunny and 50. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. Mount Harrison Audiology continues to expand to meet their community's hearing healthcare needs. Their staff now includes 3 doctors of audiology that really can help you. Call for an appointment today at 312-0957. Caller, I thank you for your patience. Go ahead, please.
You are very welcome, Zeb. Me again. So much for my good wishes that something good would happen to you today. You bit your tongue. There's still more day left.
Yes, ma'am.
There is a factor that I read in a book some time back that someone had investigated some of these things that we're talking about, and it was said that after World War II, when the economy started to come back and the soldiers started to come home and everything, that people were saying, I want my kids to have what I didn't have. And perhaps one thing we did, we gave them too much, and we made it too easy.
I agree with that, but you know something, that philosophy of, I want my kids to have what I didn't have, I think actually hurts the child. I don't care who's offended by that. That kind of an attitude hurts the child. I believe this. I'm an old man, okay? I'm 71 years old, and I don't care who knows it, and I'm still going to keep on working because I love to work. I know that sounds insane to some people, but by taking away a lot of the roadblocks and the negativity out of kids' lives, you're actually hurting them. Because they need to learn how to overcome those roadblocks and those obstacles. And by you being kind of a lawnmower parent, by taking away the obstacles, that's why a lot of these kids don't do anything, because they're expecting it to be done for them.
Yeah, I think so. I'm glad my parents gave to me what they did have from their bringing up in their childhood.
Thank you
instead of everything.
I appreciate your calling back, and thank you, Linda. I appreciate it. God bless you again. Thanks.
God bless you, too.
All right.
Thanks for all that you do informing us.
Thank you very much. I just think that when little Johnny and Susie, I don't want them to have the pitfalls and all the problems I had, so I'll smooth the way. I'll clear it out of the way. I'll make sure they don't have any problems. That's hurting the kid, for heaven's sakes. Caller, I'll be right there. Barry Equipment and Rental, Sales, Service, and Parts. 159 West Highway 30 in Burley with Juan. That is a good young man. He really understands all the equipment and can help you learn how to run it, too, right in the big sandbox out behind the business. Another location at 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin with Eli, great guy. And the Nampa location, Barry Equipment and Rental. Equipment rentals, retail equipment sales, whether it's the Bobcats, and by the way, they got all the shapes and sizes, new and used, and they've got a neat deal for you right now. 0% interest, up to 60 months on the on the Bobcats. Boo. There you go, Bobcats. Barry Equipment and Rental, Sales, Service, and Parts. Burley, Twin Falls, and Nampa. Let's see if we can't straighten out the mouth and say good morning, caller. You're on the air.
No more boo-boos now.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Okay. In the auto industry, in the sales, there is 3 things that a person applies for when they want the job. And they want to know about the 3 Ds. That's D as in dog. Okay, the first one is the draw. They want an advance right away. And the next one is day off, because they got to have day off. And the third one is a demo. They got to have transportation.
Mm-hmm.
And so they demand all these things. They want health insurance and everything else. But not once do they ask the dealer what they can do for them.
Wouldn't it be great if an employer had a cap, a baseball cap, and on the front of that cap it said these words, "What's in it for me?" And the employer sits there with that baseball cap on his head, and the prospective employee is saying, I want this and I want that. And the employer doesn't say a word, but then all of a sudden he just points to the word on the baseball cap, the words above the bill that say, what's in it for me? And see, this is something that a lot of these prospective job seekers forget, is that employer's running a big risk on an unproven commodity, and it's really true. What's in it for him?
Yeah, and I can tell you one instance that happened here years ago, probably 30 years or more. But this guy, who was a salesman for a dealership, and he either quit or they just asked him to leave or whatever. But anyway, he comes back and he sues that dealer because he said, you didn't pay me a fair wage. And they asked him, what do you mean by that? And he said, well, I wasn't just working when I was at the dealership. I went to the bars and everything, and I talked to people about cars. And I want to be paid for it.
Good. Then if he sold a bunch of cars, let him collect on the commission. I am sick and tired of the crybaby attitude that's going on with employees today. I didn't get paid enough. I didn't get this. I want time off. I want this benefit program. I want that vacation program. Wait a minute. Point to the top of the cap, Mr. Employer, and say, what's in it for me? This $15 an hour wage garbage on untrained commodities that are coming into the workforce is absolutely stupid and asinine.
You know, and the one last thing.
I got to go, Keith. Hurry, fast.
Yeah, the dealer that I worked for, we, as a salesman at that time, we had to punch a time clock.
Yep.
Because they needed the protection.
I got to run and get a commercial in. I appreciate your calling back. Thank you very much, Keith. God bless. Thank you.
You bet.
Don't forget our Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations. 7 great locations that really work hard and provide service to you. Absolutely. Big fall tire sale going on right now with all their passenger car tires, pickup and SUV tires, all their tires. You better get in there, save money. Drive safely. And along with that, the best in brake service with highly trained brake technicians, front-end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries. Can't turn that engine over in these colder mornings. It's going to go boom, boom, boom. Make sure you got a good battery at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers with the big fall tire sale going on with Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and my buddy Randy on Overland in Burley. Caller, I'm going to give you exactly 15 seconds, and I got to go to the news quickly.
It's Yummy Man. Today is barbecued chicken, mashed taters, gravy, bread pudding, and have a good day. Takeout orders available. Bye.
Senior Junction over there on Overland with the Yummy Man. Joe Taylor, excellent job. Thank you. I'll be back in about 7 minutes. Don't go away. Welcome back. Hour number 2 on this Thursday. Zeb at the Ranch, thank you for tuning in. And, of course, I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with a great big fall tire sale going on right now. Stop in and see all 7 locations today. And don't forget, too, some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Want to remind you, of course, Ramsey Heating and Electric, and they're very proud to offer service you can trust along with Lennox products. And Ramsey Heating and Electric is offering up to $1,600 in rebates on qualifying equipment purchases, so call them today and find out more. 678-0459 or visit them online at ramseysonline.com. Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox, with over 60 years at Ramsey Heating and Electric, serving you. Want to also acknowledge our dear friends over at Hanson Mortuary. Oh, Joel Heward, his family and his staff, nice people, serving you and your family always with the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. I urge you to call them at 436-5636, 436-5636, and get the information on pre-planning of funerals to help alleviate a lot of the stress and worry for your family. Please, Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, 436-5636, and Joel Heward also serving you at Morris and Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. It is time to go to the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce. They are over there and serving the public and the community, and we say good morning, I think, to Sarah Seymour. Good morning.
Good morning, Zeb. How are you today?
I am peachy fine, wonderful, good. How are everything over there at the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce?
Oh, it's wonderful. Thank you so much for asking.
Okay, I'm buckled up. I have my shoulders braced at the back of my chair. I'm ready for liftoff. Go ahead.
All right. We have lots of fun activities coming up in our area, and I just keep thinking that we're going to start slowing down, but our community is so amazing that they just keep coming up with new and better things. We're going to kick it off today with our monthly member luncheon and meeting. And this is going to be a little bit special because this is going to be a membership meeting. We're going to go over some bylaw changes and have voting on bylaw changes for the Chamber of Commerce. So if you're a member, I encourage you to join us today at noon. We're going to be at the College of Southern Idaho's Minnecasia Center, located at 1600 Park Avenue in Burley. Again, that's today at 12 o'clock. You can also turn in your Board of Directors ballots to Amy Christofferson while you're there. CSI is also going to be speaking on their workforce development and early college efforts, and Farmers Corner is going to be catering, and you know they do a great job, so come on and join us. A few more things going on in the chamber. We still have our photo contest going on. That's going to go all the way until February, so you still have time to get your pictures in, but send them in now to make sure that you have a spot. We are still taking sponsors for our annual installation banquet. We're looking at the end of January for that, and we're just about ready to set the date and venue. So if you have any questions, call us here at the chamber to get on the list to sponsor the annual installation banquet. Coming up with some member events, we have a bilingual recruitment expo coming up this weekend, Saturday, October 13th. That's also going to be located at CSI here in Burley from 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock. And we have so many people in this area either looking for work or looking for employees, so this will be a really good opportunity to get your bilingual skills noticed. We have a 5K color run and walk coming up Saturday, October 20th. That's sponsored by Intermountain Cassia Regional Hospital and Wright Physical Therapy. It goes back to help out in our area, giving free mammograms to people who qualify right here in our community. They're working with the fire department. It's going to be a really great activity. You can find more information on our event calendar as well. Four Paws over in Rupert is going to have their annual Halloween party on Saturday, October 20th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. There's going to be food and prizes and a costume parade for your pets and families and pictures and all sorts of great things. Again, you can find more information and contacts right on our website. First American Title in Burley is doing a Socktober. They're looking for donations for socks that will benefit our area's people, and they're going to be working with the school district to find those people that will accept the donations. So if you have any questions, please look at our website. You can find contact information there, or contact First American Title in Burley at 208-878-4772. We still have the Harry Potter experience coming up at the Wilson Theater the end of the month, October 25th, 26th, and 27th. I believe there's still a few tickets available, so check them out and get your tickets for that. Idaho Water Sports is going to be doing the Pomerelle Ski Swap, benefiting the Pomerelle Ski Patrol. So we have more information about all of these events on our event calendar on our website. And it's October. We're getting ready for Halloween and trunk or treats. Fabri-Cal is going to be doing their trunk or treat at 2457 Washington Avenue from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. And I believe Stokes Market's going to be hosting instead of the Rupert Square because that's all torn up. So they're going to be doing it from 6:30 to 8 p.m. on Halloween. So if you need any more information about any of those events, check out our website. We also have several job listings on there. We'd like to highlight Streamlight Precision today. They are a new job posting. They're looking for pretty much every position in their company. We still have several job postings on our website. Check it out under the business category and mini Cassia job openings. So we're located at 1177 7th Street in Hayburn, right next to the walking trail by the river. You can contact us here at the Chamber 9 to 5, Monday through Friday at 679-4793. And please go check out our website. We have all of our events located on there and all of more information. www.minicashiachamber.com.
Wow. How do you do that? You didn't even breathe once.
I don't think I did on that one.
Man, I got to ask you, are you going to dress up for Halloween?
Oh, of course I am.
What kind of a costume?
Well, I might have a couple. Me and my kids are going to go to the Harry Potter experience, so we're getting ready to dress as a Quidditch team for that.
Okay.
And I think I might have to be Superman while I'm at the office.
Superman or Superwoman?
Well, Superwoman.
Okay. I always save a little time because, ladies and gentlemen, after she has sat back in the chair and breathed heavily for about 3 minutes so she can recoup, she has now a segment called Sarah's Groaner. Do you have one?
I do have one today.
Okay.
All right, Zeb, what do you call a boomerang that does not come back?
A boomerang that does not come back?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
A stick.
Well, I'm going to fire one back at you now. I love the redneck jokes, being from back in that part of the country, back in the Ozarks and everything. How do you keep a redneck busy for an entire month?
How do you keep a redneck busy for an entire month? I have no idea. How do you do it?
Give him a bag of M&Ms and ask him to alphabetize them.
Oh, my heavens. I love it.
All right. Sarah at the Chamber of Commerce, God bless. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Zeb. You as well.
All right, thank you. Sarah Seymour over at the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce, and love having them on the program. There is a bunch of things to take part in and have fun at with the family and everything. Please, if you have any questions, get a hold of them at the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce. Okay, want to remind you, too, about Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland and Burley. Oh, my goodness, yes. Spending a lot more time in the house already, are you, Bunky? Well, I'll tell you what, you want to be comfort, and you want to have comfort, and you want to have beauty. Well, all of the above at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. They've got special prices on all their furniture. They've got a closeout on certain mattresses. They've got all the window coverings. They've got all the carpet and the vinyl flooring. Oh, my goodness. You're going to be having a lot of things going on. I mean, right around the corner, look, peek, there it is, Thanksgiving, and then Christmas. Holy cow, you'd better hurry and get that house just the way you want it. Stop in at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland and Burley. They're waiting right now to serve you. Stop in and see them today. Want to also mention to you, before we go to our next segment, about our friends over at Let's Ride. I just absolutely appreciate Nick and Randy and the whole crew over there at Let's Ride, located at 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. You know, you got to get out and do things. You got to just kind of breathe in that great mountain air. Get up in the mountains or the hills with those ATVs. They've got all kinds of ATVs over there. And then, of course, all the snowmobiles. Yeah, buddy. All of this at Let's Ride, along with all the accessories, and to keep you running and humming down the trails, etc. Great service department. Nick and Randy, the whole crew over there at Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays, 9 to 4. Let's Ride, where the fun is sold. Really, really good people. And real quick, I want to remind you, too, about some other folks that are over in that neck of the woods, and that's, of course, Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Oh, they are dedicated and very responsive to your needs. So please make an appointment. Call them at 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert, with the best of life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this and more at Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Right now, we're going to get an opportunity to find out more and learn more about the great people at Cassia Regional Hospital. Wheels, if you would, please.
People caring about you and your health care in the most professional and progressive ways. That's Cassia Regional Hospital, located at 1501 Highland Avenue in Burley. In a moment, we'll introduce you to just one of the many dedicated medical experts serving you at Cassia Regional Hospital. Today's program, right after this. Cassia Regional Hospital provides you and your family excellent health care answers and services. They're right here, close to home. That's right. Cassia Regional Hospital offers the latest technological advances in medicine, like their new oncology programs and telehealth, which uses electronic information and telecommunications to promote long-distance patient and clinical health care. Your friends, your neighbors. Cassia Regional Hospital, 1501 Highland Avenue in Burley. Quality care, close to home. Right now, another of the great people that work at Cassia Regional Hospital, and we have a new doctor, a new internal medicine doctor by the name of Dr. James Rao. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you very much.
You know, tell me a little bit about internal medicine doctor. I mean, those are three words that a lot of people might not know what the meaning is. Explain what you do.
Yes, internal medicine is basically a field that's specifically designed to take care of adult patients from the age of 18 into geriatric type of patients. And it's called internal medicine because we manage the problems associated with our internal organs primarily, and in general, we're non-surgeons, so the difference between us as surgeons is that they are the ones that operate on major type of surgeries, and we don't.
So now, Dr. Rao, would you, with your findings with a patient, would you work hand in hand with a surgeon so that the patient gets the best of care for their particular problem?
Yeah, yes, I do, and actually, but in our practice, both in the clinic and and when we take care of patients in the hospital, we work with the specialists and including the surgeons very closely.
Let's talk a little bit about you as a person and you as a doctor. Tell us a little thumbnail sketch about where you're from, how long have you been practicing medicine, and why did you choose to come to Cassia Regional?
It's a long story, but I will start in the very beginning. I was born in China and came to the United States to study and I finished my high school when I was 15 years old. And together with my family, we have moved around during my childhood, and I finished high school in Florida and then went to college at Florida State University. After that, I went to University of South Florida to attend medical school, which is in Tampa, Florida. And after I completed medical school, I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, to finish internal medicine residency at Emory University. And after my internal medicine residency, I went into a private practice as a hospitalist, which is an internal medicine physician that primarily takes care of hospitalized patients at a private hospital in Atlanta, Georgia. And I was there until 2010 when we moved to Twin Falls, Idaho, and then for the next 6 years I worked at St. Luke's Magic Valley, and then after that, for the last 2 years, I worked as a locum tenens, which is a traveling physician, and I went to Wyoming to work for the last 2 years, and then I spoke with the administrator here at Cassia Regional Hospital, Ben Smalley, and we felt that there's a good opportunity to provide good internal medicine care to the patient population here, but also to help enhance our ability to take care of some of our sickest patients here in the hospital. So that is why I decided to come here to work.
You know, I've got to ask you this, and I'm very, very supportive of medicine and doctors and people that want to get into this industry, if you will. And what changed your attitude from high school to go to college and then eventually to go to medical school? What was the major factor in your life that you wanted to become a doctor?
I think it's being exposed to the medical field. For me, I actually had no exposure to the medical field in high school or even in the first years in college. It was for me. Everything changed when one of my best friends, who was a pre-med student volunteering at the hospital, wanted someone to go with him just to keep him company. It just started out as helping a friend. But my experience inside the hospital made me realize that was something I would very enjoy just taking on as a lifelong profession, and because of just not only the ability to help the people in needs, but also the camaraderie of working with both the medical and the nursing and the hospital staff together to achieve common goals.
Mm-hmm. Let
me ask you this. As an internal medicine doctor, I would imagine that every day in your life as a doctor is a day of education and a day of learning because the medical profession changes so much.
Yes, that is indeed true. And there isn't a day that goes by that a colleague and I wouldn't just we always have something to talk about at the end of the day because of the interesting cases that we run into every day. Most of the problems that we take care of on a daily basis are probably going to always be the most common problems, but it's almost on a daily basis that we always have an interesting patient with such interesting problems that you don't see very often, which keep us sharp and keep us on our toes and really keep it interesting so that you want to keep reading and learning more about all the different disease processes.
And final thought here, and also I would imagine with the changes almost daily, weekly, and on a yearly basis to the pharmaceutical industry, you really have to have continuing study on all the new medicines. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct, which is why that for medicine there's a requirement in order to maintain your the internal medicine certification that we have to go through a continuing medical education program, which is it means that you have to have a certain amount of formal education every 2 years in order to maintain that. But it goes way beyond that because on a daily basis, when we have issues coming up with patients or with problems that are not seen very often, that we oftentimes will look for basically do the necessary research to try to find out as much information as possible, and a lot of that information can come in the forms of professional internet research or talking to the specialty physicians, either here in Cassia or sometimes even located at other facilities.
Dr. Rao, for the audience that's listening right now to you on the radio, how would you tell them to get a hold of you at Cassia Regional? Just call the main office number, or is there a number in particular for you?
Right now, the main hospital number is one of the best options, but they certainly can call my nurse directly to get set up with appointments, or if you have any questions that we can help with.
Another of the great medical people, professionals at Cassia Regional Hospital, Dr. James Rao, internal medicine doctor. Thank you, sir, for being on our program this morning.
Yeah, thank you so much for being able to share this time with me.
Tune in every Thursday at 9:18 right here on Zeb at the Ranch for more about the people and the healthcare services at your Cassia Regional Hospital, 1501 Highland Avenue in Burley. Quality care close to home.
Oh, excellent people at Cassia Regional Hospital. I've really learned a lot about their great jobs and their personalities, excuse me, at Cassia Regional. Wonderful people. Don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric, proud to offer service you can trust, along with Lennox products that help keep you comfortable. Ramsey Heating and Electric is offering up to $1,600 in rebates on qualifying equipment purchases. You better find out more today. Call them at 678-0459. And you can also check it online, ramseysonline.com. Proudly offering Lennox products, Ramsey Heating and Electric, in business for over 60 years at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. I want to also remind you about our dear friends that have recently expanded their business to better serve you. Who is it? Well, it's Dino's Septic Service. You don't want to be standing out there pumping a septic tank. You don't want to be out there with sewer and sink drain lines plugged and trying to clean them. No, call them Dino's Septic Service. I mean everything. Septic tanks pumped and backhoe services, water and sewer lines installed, liquid waste removal. The list goes on. These folks are really, really good. And by the way, you need to get all the pumping done before the ground freezes over, so give them a call. 436-6526. or in Burley at 678-1638. Fast fare friendly service with a great big truck that says, smells cargo on the way. Dino's Septic Service. Really good people. In just a minute, we're going to be having a wonderful lady on the air, and that's, of course, Rita Ramsey. So stand by for that. I also want to urge you to remember that, I'm going to talk to you about that a little bit later on this morning, about what's going on over at Four Paws in just a matter of days, as a matter of fact, for Halloween. They're going to have, I'll do it right now. I've got just a moment. They're going to be having a Halloween happening at Four Paws Bed and Bath annual Halloween party, Saturday, October 20th, 11 o'clock until 2 p.m. This is a fun deal for you and your pets. They're going to have a costume parade for your pets at 12 noon, and all kinds of prizes, and they're going to have free pictures with your pet. They're going to have food. All of this is going to be at 370 West, 200 South of Rupert. The number to call, Four Paws. They do this, and they have done this for a long time. It is a blast. And the number, 438-4444. Four Paws annual Halloween party, Saturday, October 20th from 11 until 2. Right now, we say a good morning to a lovely lady, Mr. Last Week. How are you, Rita Ramsey?
I'm real good, thank you.
Don't leave again. I missed our conversation.
Well, thank you.
You're very, very welcome. I don't even know, like I've said before to you, where to start, so I'm going to just start with this. Now the left says that we, the conservatives, you can't call the left that's out there beating on cars and kicking in windows and having people leave restaurants for fear of their lives. You can't call them mobs. What's the matter with you? I've got other words I'd like to call these people, Rita. What are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, it takes somebody that's pretty ignorant, as in uninformed, to not realize that they are mobs, because that is exactly what they are. But that is their intent. That's what they are paid to do. They're paid by the left to form these groups and do that type of thing. I was listening on one of the late-night radios last night, and I can't remember who it was. The name of a person was mentioned. It was a lady. I can't remember her name. Unfamiliar to me, so it didn't ring any bells. However, they said that she was actually paid for this, basically doing the community organizing to do these mob kind of things, and she receives a salary of $150,000 a year to organize those. And they said, boy, isn't community organizing, paying good? Well, right now it really is, because you've got a number of people out there. Soros is leading the way, and he's got all kinds of, these little branch groups that he set up so that you don't, when you hear it at first, it doesn't really say, George Soros organization, but he's footing the bill for all of it.
Rita,
they're raising money for it, and that's what they're doing.
Absolutely. I've got a very good friend that has helped me with the booking of a lot of our national guests on this program back in D.C., and I was on the phone with him the other day, and we were talking about how absolutely dangerous this mob situation with Antifa and all these other gangs against conservatives is getting to be. And he simply said, Zeb, we can tell you this much. You ain't seen nothing yet. Boy, that's kind of a harbinger for maybe some dastardly deeds in the future. Kind of scary, isn't it?
Well, it is, but if you stop and look back at it and look at the whole picture, look what kind of a tantrum they went into over Kavanaugh.
Yeah.
Do you think that that's going to be any different if we end up holding the House and Senate and the presidency and the Supreme Court?
But on the other side of that coin, though, we can't afford to let the Democrats and their vile, evil, filthy ways take over the House, because then then we're going to see even more of this with a contemption against all of the conservatives and an impeachment or a try to impeach Kavanaugh, a absolute lockup of our government to stop and make sure that Trump doesn't get anything done. This thing is so critical in November that we get out and vote.
Well, we do, and I heard, I think it was on when I was listening coming into work, it was about 6:15 this morning, on the radio, and somebody came on and said, we can't afford to let them have it. We can't afford to let this continue on, and we have to look at it as what it is, and that's just a bunch of spoiled brats that are mad. And if we do let them get it, we are in for the likes that you haven't seen before.
That's right.
And it will be everything under the sun.
That's right.
And if we want to bring our economy back to a halt, like it was for the number of years that we had Obama, that's what we're going to have. And right now it's breaking loose and moving just like crazy because regulations have been unleashed and various different taxes have been made so that businesses could dare to start spending money and expanding.
When you look at the people on the left that are putting forth kind of a challenge to their ilk to go out and be a mob, be lawless. And then Eric Holder, former Attorney General, saying if they go low, kick them. Hillary saying no civility until we're back in power. We're not going to be nice. We're going to keep hammering at them until we come back in power. These are very dangerous comments from low-class individuals.
Well, it is. However, you've got some supposedly higher-class individuals that are saying the same things, and it's just because they're mad. I mean, this is just getting so out of control that I think everybody needs to step back and take a breath.
Yes.
I heard, it was a few days ago on late night radio, a guy called in, he says, I just want you to know, he says, I was raised in West Virginia, southern West Virginia, and I was raised a Democrat, and I've been a Democrat my whole life until just a few years ago. And he said, I've been trying to get my family to switch over to the more conservative side. And he said, my grandma at 94 has been a lifelong Democrat, and she's just fought it tooth and nail, and my folks are in their 70s and the same thing. He says, I want you to know, during the Kavanaugh thing, or just as it was finishing up, they all went to the county courthouse and registered as Republicans. They said, we are not going to be part of this. So that gives me a little bit of hope that those that were on the opposing side are still civil and have some common sense and saying, you know what, that's not us, and we do not want to be associated with it.
Rita, on Tuesday, I hope you were listening in the first hour of my program, and I asked a very simple question as to how you, the listener, would react if you were surrounded by a lawless mob that was beating and absolutely trying to demolish your vehicle. You're inside with your spouse. They're smashing the windows. What would you do? And I made the statement, and I've taken some heat over this by some, but I'm not going to back off, that if I'm in a vehicle that is absolutely surrounded and being hammered and hacked and beaten and the glass trying to be broken out, and I'm in a vehicle with my wife or even by myself, and I consider that to be a life-threatening situation, the pedal goes to the metal, and who's ever in front of that vehicle, the devil be damned, because I'm leaving. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think that is exactly what you wouldn't have any other choice but to do. However, we had a fellow who works for us, and he carries a gun in his truck, and he has a permit to carry it. He doesn't have a concealed carry permit, but he says if I ever get stopped, the first thing that happens when I see those blue lights is I set my gun right up on the dash.
Yes.
So that when they come up there, they know that I've got a gun. They can check everything, and they know that I'm all okay. And I think that it's coming to the point where, a person might have to start doing that, because all you'd have to do is pull that gun out, and show it, and most everybody would scatter. The ones who didn't, you could open the window and shoot into the air, and the rest would scatter.
I don't know legally, though, if you can do that anymore to the point where the ramifications might not come back on you.
You'd have to plead your case in
That's
court,
right.
possibly.
That's
But
right.
If you had a bunch of people like that were stopping you from doing it, I guess take some pictures with your cell phone and then say, hey, I got a gun, and open the window and say, hey, you know, do I have to use this?
Right.
And maybe it would scare them away. I don't know. I don't know what else you could do. It would seem like that if you ran over people and they were hurt, that there might be more ramifications than if you said, hey, I got a gun, I'll use it if I have to.
Absolutely, but I just stated this because it's happened more times than we care to want to even think about in this country, to where mobs, disorderly and very lawless people, are coming up with tire irons and pieces of iron and beating vehicles, trying to smash windows. You've got to make a decision. And I'll stand behind what I said. You've got to make a decision that they are trying to do bodily damage, physical damage to you, not just the vehicle. You've got to get out of there. And I, at that point, said, pedal to the metal, and whomever is injured, that is their problem.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't know, last I checked, we have the right to defend ourselves.
That's right.
So I think it might do well, just if you get hauled into court, say, I want a judge and jury.
Well, remember not too many months ago, it might have been about a year ago, remember back in New York where those protesters surrounded that SUV with that family that was taking off to go to the beach that day? They had their little children in the car. They surrounded the car, started beating on it and everything. And the driver, fearful for his wife and his children's health, floorboarded it. And one of the people that was trying to stop the vehicle ended up with a broken leg. And there was all kinds of a harangue about, oh, this man used a lethal weapon, a car, to run over somebody. And right there I made the point in my life that if that ever happened to me, I would do the same thing, because that man was fearful for the health and safety of his children and his wife.
Oh, yeah, and they, I'm not positive, but didn't we even see some of that on film?
Absolutely. There were cameras that had recorded this, and it went to court and everything. It should have never went to court. He was protecting his family, and he was fearful that they were going to break the car windows. They tried to break the car windows and hurt his children, and I think the heck with that protester. That person suffered something because they shouldn't have been doing that illegal act in the first place.
Absolutely, and the other thing is that I think that it could be proved without very much consulting that fellow wasn't trying to hurt somebody else. He was basically trying to get out of Dodge and protect the family.
But isn't it the case in our society today, and I know you're going to agree with this, that no matter what we do in order to protect our family, somebody's breaking in your house, and boy, you give them a warning and say if they come any further, bang, they're going to get it. The laws are so twisted and turned now, like that gentleman in Chicago that had been robbed so many times. He lives in a home all by himself in a wheelchair, and he told him, that's it, I'm not going to take it anymore. And now they're coming after him because he protected himself, and he had to end up shooting a gang member coming through his front door. This is insane.
Well, it is, and that's why I think that I saw a story on one of the news websites earlier today even that said, well, they're predicting that Donald Trump's going to do, I think it was Sharpton probably who said it, that Donald Trump's going to have the stop and search, thing that they had in New York that was so effective.
Yep.
They had to drop it. He's going to put that into Chicago, and we better watch out. You know what? They need that in Chicago.
They need, I'm going to be very blunt. I don't often agree with this, but they need the implementation of the National Guard to sweep through the south side of Chicago, and these punks, these worthless punks and gang members that are going down the streets at night just willfully shooting people, and it's got to stop. I mean, I absolutely have no sympathy for these people whatsoever. They need to go in and clean up Dodge City because it's a mess.
Well, it is, and that's just human nature. I remember several years before, well, it wasn't several, probably about 4 years before my oldest daughter was going to be going into junior high, and I heard a couple of moms, one of them was my sister-in-law, and a couple of others were talking about, oh my gosh, have you been at the junior high? Everything is just so out of control. The kids are this and that and the other, and they just had a horrible thing going. And it was, I think, the next year that they hired the principal, a man who is totally amazing, working with kids, very quiet, but these are the rules and this is what we're going to go by. His name is Mr. Gillette. And within probably just less than a year's time, probably less than a semester's time, they had things under control. They had rules. They had guidelines. The kids knew what the rules were. They went by the rules. They didn't have the kind of issues with discipline and problems that they had had for several years prior to that with the other leadership and administration at the junior high. And the reason is because you draw lines, you enforce those laws or rules, which are no different than what we have in cities in our state and in our country, and say this is what's going to happen if you don't go by the rules. When we ignore the rules and just let it go and let it go and let it go, this is what we end up with. I was focusing on an article here just a little while ago, and it talks about there are 1,500 people in the Interior Department, the employees, who've been disciplined for harassment and misconduct. And many of those are going to start losing their jobs. And the reason why any of this didn't really take place previous, because these were harassment, misconduct in 2017 and 18. It says disciplinary actions were part of a year-long effort toward creating more accountability, Interior Deputy Secretary said. And what happened is from during the Obama administration, they just kind of ignored everything, and then people just quit reporting stuff, and it just come down to, hey, despite the efforts of what's going on, we've got to know what's going on, and it needs to be reported. People have to come forward, and we need to go by the rule of law. So finally, there's some things that are being implemented. Of course, we don't hear any of that on the news or any of those kinds of things showing that, hey, the Trump administration is going in and saying, hey, you guys are out of control. We can't put up with this. National Park Service and some of those different departments that are in that Interior Department, there's all kinds of stuff going on. And that's no different than what we're seeing on the streets right now, and people are ignoring it. And Chicago's one of the worst.
That's exactly right. Rita, stay with me. I'll be right back. I've got to get a weather forecast in here, sponsored by Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company. And they provide accounting services to the Mini-Cache area as they have for well over 50 years. The very best, the top-notch professionals helping you with your taxes. And don't forget the best of tax return preparation, tax planning, financial statement preparation, retirement planning, all of this and so much more serving you. Offices in Burley and Rupert, Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Looks like we're finally going to dry out today. Here's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. We do have a slight chance of rain showers in the morning, but other than that, we are looking at partly sunny skies for today. Winds out of the north, about 8 miles an hour. High of 51 is what we're looking at tonight. Patchy freezing fog, especially in the overnight hours. Mostly clear skies with a low of 29. That patchy freezing fog could carry over for tomorrow morning. We are looking at sunny skies with a high of 57 as we kick off the weekend. Winds are picking up out of the east at about 13 miles an hour. Clear skies for tomorrow night with a low of 31 as we make our way towards Saturday. Sunny skies and a high of 56. Mostly clear for Saturday night with a low of 26. Then by Sunday, sunny and 50. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. Brought to everybody this hour by some really top-notch people. And believe me, they can help you, your family, and your business. They have all the answers for people starting a business or a partnership or people that are starting to expand their business. They can help, and they will. Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company, with accounting services to the Mini-Cache area and offices in Burley and Rupert. Rita, I know we're a little shy on time, but I want to get into this next subject with you, and we talked about it in the first hour this morning. With all the illegal aliens and all the refugees coming here to our area, and quite frankly all across the board in the United States, why do we have such a terrible employment issue to where we can't find anybody to fill the jobs? There is every business that I can think of, every nature of business that is literally begging for employees. What's going on here?
Well, the first thing that it tells us is that the economy is roaring. When the economy roars, that makes employees move up the pay scale to different things, and they move along, and then you've got others that just can't find them. But one of the biggest things that we have found, and I've heard other employers talk about it, is that you get employees that don't know how to work, or they don't really want to work, and it's really tough to find somebody that will come and stick to it and say, okay, I'll be to work at 7:30 in the morning, and I'll stay till 4:30 in the afternoon. A lot of times, do I have to come at 7:30? Well, I'd rather come at 8, and then they roll in between 8 and 9, and they're ready to leave at 2.
Yeah.
And you can't run a business that way. So I think a lot of it has to do with parental guidance, training in schools, encouraging kids, hey, you know what? If you're going to make a living, you're going to have to be dependable. You're going to have to learn a trade. You're going to have to learn something, some way to do what you need to do, and you specialize in it. And then you have to be the best that you can be. And if you are and you're dependable, you can name your price.
Doesn't this infuriate you like it does me? I know that you're an employer of many individuals, and I've had people within my employ, but I'm absolutely sickened by the fact that they'll come in and they'll say, okay, now I want this benefit program, I want this many weeks vacation, and what do you mean wage? That's too low. I'm demanding that I get paid such and such. They're an unproven commodity, especially when you're looking at the entry-level jobs, the low entry-level jobs, and they're making demands. We don't know if they're going to pan out. The poor employer is sitting there going, wow, this is like playing Russian roulette. This is insane that these people are making demands on employers today because they're an unproven commodity.
Well, they are. And, I'm sure that you grew up in this same type of atmosphere. It's kind of like, okay, I'm going to start with a entry-level job.
Bingo.
It might be barely minimum or maybe even lower than minimum, but I'm going to learn something. I'm going to show them that I'm dependable. And if something else comes along that pays me more and I haven't got any more, I'll do that. But right now, I'll settle for this one so that I can put it on my resume as I worked at, maybe it was Dairy Queen or McDonald's or whatever for a year or so. And you can contact my employer, and he'll say, man, I was sad to lose this person because they were so dependable and they were very conscientious and wanted to do something. This society that we live in now is an entitlement society.
Yes.
They don't have to have training. They don't have to do the kind of thing that proves that they're a good employee or that they're learning and they're really willing to work, on up the ladder. It's just, you give me this because I should be entitled to it.
I'm going to say this, and it's very simply put. We're giving them a pat on the back and an attaboy with a $15 an hour wage job before they ever prove that they can help and serve the employer. This is nuts.
Well, it really is, and to add insult to injury on that regard, I mean, it's a good sign for the economy, is we were reading in the newspaper when we got back and had a busload of mail to go through, that it said that Cassia County is like 1.9% unemployment, which means more people are working that really even want to. And so when you have jobs available for everybody, you don't really get what you want. It's just kind of like, okay, I'll take what I can get.
Yes.
Because everybody's got a job that they either want or that it pays what they want. And so that kind of adds to the injury of the problem of kids need to be trained. we need to start hiring kids when they're 14, and I would say even 10 or 12, because I've got grandkids that are that age, and I'll tell you something. They are step savers, and they know how to do stuff, and you just show them something, and boy, they can zip right through it. Kids can learn. They just have to be shown how to do what they need to do and explain what they need to do, and they'll go through and do it. But when you make them wait till they're 17 or 18 to go hunt for a job and they don't have a clue about it, it's a sad day.
Amen. Boy, I wish we had more time. We were on a roll, and I'm glad you're back. Rita Ramsey with our dear friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric. I always look forward to having you on the program. God bless. We'll see you next Thursday.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Wonderful lady right there, Rita Ramsey, and thank you very much for all of her input. Okay, it is that time of the day on a Thursday where I say if you're hungry, like I am, and starving to death, I know some great places to go for lunch. How about the AC Drive-In at 601 East Main in Burley? Oh, my goodness sakes, yes. That famous Farmer Brown burger. That's my favorite, I'll tell you. I love it. With the fries and the special sauce. And how about one of the many different shakes like pumpkin shake, black raspberry shake? Oh, good, 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 good. AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. Well, let's talk about Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. They've got the pumpkin empanadas, absolutely, and they got the breakfast burritos. Oh, have you had one of those? Scrambled eggs, bacon and sausage, cheese, onions, tomato sauce, all on a tortilla shell. Woohoo! Knock your boots off delicious. Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. And Burgers Etc. Burgers Etc. 124 South Oneida in Rupert and 700 Overland in Burley. Wow, two great locations, and they got the different soups every day. And they've got ham and cheese combo after 3 p.m., only $4.99, including sandwich, fries, and drink. Oh, and every Sunday at the Burley location, shrimp dinner, only $5.99. Burgers Etc., Rupert and Burley. And last but not least, Steve-O's at 290 South 600 west of Hayburn. Food made the way you love it. They've got those delicious buffalo burgers. Have you had one of those? Absolutely great. And they've got that cheesy broccoli spud, and they've got all the cupcakes. Oh, my goodness. What a great place. What a great menu at Steve-O's, 290 South 600 west of Hayburn. And those are just a few great places to go when you're hungry and starving to death. Boy, I am right now, I'll tell you. Next hour, we are going to be having Cache County School Days, and we have a gentleman coming on the program, Dusty Fisher. That man is phenomenal. He's the choir director at Burley High School. Absolutely a great guy. And then we're going to have our business tribute with Dr. Bill over at Ark Animal Hospital. And then at 10:32, we're going to have Julio Rivera talking about the illegal aliens coming into this country and what it is costing us. So don't go away. We're going to have a lot more on Zeb at the Ranch, and right now we're going to get set to send it over to CBS News. Wheels is ready to take it away. Good morning, good morning. Hope you're having a great day on this Thursday, October 11th already. Holy smokes. I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, serving you with a great big fall tire sale going on right now. And also some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Want to remind you, the Bennett Boys Auction Service is going to have a great big sale this Saturday. It's going to be located south of Twin Falls. You go from the Pay and Pack corner, go south 2 miles, then east on 3600 for about a mile. Look for the signs. Lunch by the Cook Shack. This is going to be a quality sale. Walker and Gene Carr Estate Auction, and they're going to have tractors and trailers, and they're going to have all kinds of farm equipment and shop tools and and livestock items, along with antiques and sporting items, furniture and appliances. Oh, yeah, you don't want to miss this one. Managed by the Bennett Boys Auction Service, and that's going to be this Saturday at 11 o'clock, and it's just a little bit south of Twin Falls, the Walker and Jean Carr Estate Auction, managed by the Bennett Boys Auction Service. No sale too big, no sale too small. The Bennett Boys, they sell them all. All right, caller, real quick, and then I've got to go to Cache County School Days. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Zeb, I heard you mention, I believe last week, about this polio thing, and they just had on the news how many more of it's a different strain, I guess, and these little kids paralyzed in their arm and hard to breathe and stuff. And you said you were going to try to keep on top of that. Have you?
I am. As a matter of fact,
report next week.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we're going to do a complete, I think Monday morning in the first hour, I'm going to talk about this. I am outraged. I am outraged that this has to go to this extent. I said years ago on this program that polio might have been defeated, but it's through a lack of caring and discipline by parents to not get their kids vaccinated. We're going to see polio raise its ugly head again, and it's happening. I am absolutely outraged.
I am too, and I'm scared to death. So thank you, and I'll be listening next week.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to get ready for Cache County School Days, and it's sponsored by our dear friends at A Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley. Don't forget they've got all the new fall clothing, and they have all the Cherokee scrubs, and they've got the baby furniture, and they've got the games and the puzzles and the toys. It's a family store for you. A Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley, proud sponsor of Cache County School Days every week right here on Zeb at the Ranch. With that being said, I absolutely have the greatest of remarks for this man and what he has done as the choir director at Burley High School. Last year, again, we asked Dusty Fisher to please supply us with some great singers for our Christmas party that we had at Denny's restaurant in Burley. Oh, my goodness. The talent that is available and here in the Magic Valley, thanks to the tutelage of this man, Dusty Fisher, you are phenomenal. Dusty, thanks for being on the program this morning.
Absolutely, Zeb. How are you?
I'm good, but, man, you are a man of great talent, and you help move that talent out of your being into these kids, and, oh, my goodness, I'm impressed with them.
Well, thank you very much for that.
You're very welcome. Tell us what's going on. I mean, you had a long summer, and now you're back in school. What's going on with your kids and your program?
Well, right now, my top choir, the Bel Cantos, are preparing a Broadway musical that will open the week after Thanksgiving. It's the story is Aida. It's actually a rock opera written by Elton John and Tim Rice. And it's a rock opera, and the kids are working. We're meeting every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings at 6:30 in the morning. We're rehearsing from 6:30 to 8. These kids are so stinking busy with sports and other things that I have to meet them early in the morning. So we all come in with sleep in our eyes and yawning to rehearse. But the story of Aida is a timeless love story. Aida is a slave that's captured by a character by the name of Rodimus. Rodimus is betrothed to marry Amneris. Rodimus and Aida fall in love. So the whole story is wrapped up around that little love triangle. But it opens up on November 29th at 7, 30th at 7th, and then we're doing 2 shows, a matinee and an evening performance on Saturday, December 1st.
Holy cow. You know, Dusty, I think you mentioned it briefly in your opening remarks about the kids, and they're all involved in so many different things, but they've made a commitment to be in this choir, and they get there early in the morning. Talk to us a little bit about these kids, because a lot of people think, oh, well, they're just singers. No, they might be football players, they might be volleyball players. They really have a schedule to maintain, don't they?
They sure do. Let's see. In that choir alone, I have 4 football players. I have 2 girls basketball. I have
4 or 5 male and female soccer players. I've got a volleyball player. I've got a track guy who's probably going to make it to nationals. So in my 38-member choir, probably a third to half of them are involved in sports, and probably half of those kids are also involved in the band program and the orchestra program. It's a good time to be at Burley High School as far as the fine arts go. It's just fun.
Let me ask you this. How do you go about, and I really don't know the answer to this question, but after I heard and have worked with you for a couple of occasions at our Christmas party, I mean, they're polite, they're dedicated, and they're so talented. How do you find these kids?
Well, my wife and I were talking about building numbers the other day, and she says that the kids love you. You can bark at them and they come back for more. You can praise them and they come back for more. They're just a great group of kids here. I currently have about 270 in my choir program from junior high through high school.
Oh my!
The band is growing. The drama program is growing, and they're just a great group of kids. I praise parents that teach their kids how to be respectful and honest and open and willing to learn and change. That's not at every school.
You know, it's not at every school, and I just hope and pray that they realize, they being the student body at Burley High School and the parents and everyone realizes how lucky they are to have you in this kind of a program. Because I feel bad, because I remember when I was in high school, that's when they still circled the wagons at night, that we had music programs and choir programs, band programs, etc. But a lot of schools today, because of economics, they can't have that.
You know, if a teacher is committed to their kids and they just do their job, and I'm going to get on my soapbox here for a second. Well, for example, I have a men's ensemble that comes in every morning. I've got roughly 40 guys that come in at 6:30 every Monday morning because they want a men's choir. Friday mornings, I have another ensemble that meets at 6:30 in the morning. Now, I'm not recommending everybody go out and do a 0-hour class, but if the teacher is willing, it's that old adage, the teacher is willing, the kids are going to show up. You just got to inspire the kids and push them harder than what you think you should, because they'll always rise to the bar.
You know, Dusty, how long have you been here in this area? Give us a little thumbnail sketch about you.
Okay, well, I moved in the area a little over a decade ago to be a worship pastor at a church at First Baptist out there on Highland here in Burley. And things happen, those things happen, and I ended up working for Party Hardy for a few years. And Richard Call got really sick. This is when he first started battling his second bout of cancer. And he talked to Cindy Hansen, who was the former choir person here, and said, "Do you know of anybody who can substitute and keep my program going?" And she said, "Yeah, I know the guy." So Cindy brought me into the high school to start substituting for Richard Call. My wife and I were all but packed the next year to leave for Pointe, Micronesia. I had applied for a job teaching at the university on one of the micro islands out there in Micronesia. When Dr. Hondo, the former principal at the high school, called me and said, "Mr. Floyd is down. Can you come back?" So we chose to stay here, and I became Steve Floyd, and I was band director for a little over a year and a half. Cindy Hansen looked at me because we were working together. She said, "I'm retiring. What are you going to do? You going to take the choir?" So I had to make that decision. So I then became the choir director. And so for a year I was doing choir or doing the choir program, and we hired a new fella, Mr. Mitch Tilley, who was a Burley High School alum, to come in and do band. Well, then Mitch got sick, so the next year I did choir and band and the King Fine Arts Center.
Wow.
And Mrs. Hansen came out of retirement to help me. But the past 2 years, working on our third year now, we've got an amazing band director by the name of Tim Wood. We have Lance Jones, who does awesome stuff with the drama program. And we're just tearing up the fine arts in Cassia County.
Wow. Well, tell us a little bit about the achievements and, quite frankly, the winnings that you've seen at Burley High School with the band and the choir, etc. You've really done well.
We are really having a great season so far. To end the year last year, we had 4 kids go to the state speech and debate competition. 3 qualified for state. Last year we had 40 kids go to solo and ensemble, and we had 12 advance onto state solo. This year so far, Burley High School Band is just tearing it up. They went to their first competition up in Caldwell and came home with first place by 9/10 of a point. So I guess tearing it up isn't quite right, but they won. The next competition at Kuna, they won by 4 points above the band behind them. So they've now come home with 2 first-place trophies and a series of caption trophies. Best overall visual, best sound, best percussion. So they're heading to ISU this weekend to try to keep that streak alive. The choir programs, like I said, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 at the high school level now.
Uh-huh.
And we're actually starting to prep and get ready to start making a run for solo and ensemble, which will happen in February after our concert, which is Tuesday, December 18th.
Wow. Let me ask you this. What about the employment opportunities, the job and career opportunities for people involved in music or drama or choir, etc.? What would you tell people that are naysayers about, don't waste the time with that, it's never going to amount to anything?
I would take them to all the science. Music, drama, the arts in general activate both hemispheres of the brain and force them to communicate with each other. Let me ask you, would you rather have a doctor that has both sides of his brains working on it or just half of his brain?
I love it.
So it's just amazing what the arts do for the kids. We push the STEM stuff and science, technology, something else, and math. But we forget about the arts. So the art people have started talking about STEAM, adding the A in there for the arts, because if we don't cater to the Renaissance idea for education and cater to the whole student, we're going to lose stuff that's just integral to who we are as a society here in America. The arts have been there since day one, when the first guy walked off with his lute and started singing God Bless America on the shores.
Absolutely.
And if we lose that, we need to work hard to keep that.
And
one of the most important resources we should have in our community is elementary music teachers.
Absolutely.
And we have wonderful para-educators that are just amazing, but we only have 1 or 2 truly certified licensed music professionals in the elementary schools.
Wow. I would assume, Dusty, and I'm almost out of time.
I don't want to put the folks down.
I understand. I'm almost out of time, and I want to have you answer this, but I would assume that maybe with the choir and the drama and the arts programs, that might be a hook that helps keep some of these students in school and active in school.
Absolutely. It is an absolute way to make these kids... I don't want to say we end up with all the outcasts. We end up with some, as any program does. But there's a place and a love and a family for kids that might not get it at home in the fine arts, because we're putting our hearts on the line every day. We're singing, we're playing instruments, we're putting our acting on display, our personal art all the time. And we work really hard here to keep it a positive, encouraging, challenging programs, and the kids find a place to be.
Let me ask you a real quick short answer on this, if you would. Of all the years and all the students and all the accolades and everything, how many have come back to you and opened the door and said, thank you?
Probably more than I can count. I think the ones that are probably most dear to me are the kids that came back and said, I'm sorry I did that. Because when they get their frontal cortex development, they start thinking back at old decisions, and they come back and just are truly heartfelt and want to thank and apologize for something I've forgotten about years ago. But the fact that they're willing to come in and say, I thank you, I love you, and I'm sorry I was a butthead, is amazing.
Absolutely. I'll tell you what, Burley High School is really fortunate to have you, and I want to say this because nothing's really tied together yet. The strings aren't tied, but I'm hoping that we can have another Christmas great big extravaganza and use you and your wonderful choir. Outstanding. Dusty Fisher from Burley High School, I thank you for being on the program this morning.
Absolutely, Zeb. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, sir. There's a man that has so much talent, and he takes his talent and he can just basically infuse these kids, and they're fantastic. Just an outstanding choir, and I just salute Dusty Fisher. He is the choir director at Burley High School. Dusty Fisher, thank you so much. We're about ready to have our business salute for this week, and I want to remind you that coming up in a few moments, we're going to have Julio Rivera, too. Our great segment, Cache County School Days, brought to you by A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley. You be sure and stop in, a family store serving you. A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley. Right now, let's go to the phone line, and I believe we have a gentleman on the program with us this morning that's going to tell us all about animals and the care of animals and what they do to really help you keep them healthy, and that's Dr. Bill over at our friends at Ark Animal Hospital. Good morning, Dr. Bill. How are you?
How you doing, partner?
Well, I'm not too bad. Listen, we've got through the summer, and all the pets are kind of laying around the house right now because it's got a little bit cold. What about winter care for our pets? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the first thing you need to remember is that water that is freezing cold, the critters won't drink enough, especially, not only dogs and cats, but horses. This is the time of year when we start seeing a bunch of colics because the water is cold and the owners forget to put their trough heaters in.
Now let's talk a little bit about that too. What about those trough heaters, Dr. Bill? Because a person's got to be a little bit careful about those and make sure that they're grounded and not going to cause a more serious problem.
Really, like electrocution. We hit that about every fall. We hit one or two of those that they haven't checked. And obviously what happens is the animal gets so thirsty it'll go ahead and stick its nose in there and it'll electrocute him.
Yeah.
It shorts him to the ground. So check out those trough heaters before you plug them in.
Okay,
Make sure that the plugs they're on are grounded, and there's a ground rod right there so it can short out that way if it's going to.
Okay. Now, is there anything special? What kind is the best? I mean, when they see so many at the store, how do they know they're getting a good one?
Well, the floating. I like the floating ones personally, but you have to put a cover over them so that the horses or the cattle won't grab them and throw them on the ground.
Yeah, I know.
Which I know you've probably experienced before.
What about the kind that are the plastic tubs and they go in the back and they basically screw in the back of the plastic tubs? What about those?
Those actually work pretty good. The problem with those that I see, Zeb, is they've got to be grounded again.
Right.
That's the only problem I've seen with them is because plastic's not a very good conductor. And so if they short out, if the thing happens to short out, then it will electrocute the animal. The other thing, if you want to, the ones that sink to the bottom, the trough heaters that sink to the bottom, but then you got to have a cord that comes out.
Okay.
Still to plug them in, and those seem to be a lot more durable because the animals can't get to them.
Well, Dr. Bill, aren't most of the like the troughs and the tubs with the three-prong plug, aren't they already grounded, or do you have to take special precaution?
No, they're fine. They're fine, but you got to make sure that the plug you plug them into, on the wall, is also grounded. Now, some of the farmers have a bad habit of not grounding their plugs that are to the outside of these.
Okay.
When they get wired, and so that's the problem. The other thing is the Ritchie ones, the Ritchie automatic washers that are heated. That tends to be a problem too if they get shorted out against the metal.
Okay. Now, another subject I wanted to talk to you about is shelter. I think way too many people forget about the shelter for their livestock in the wintertime.
Right. And you know, most of the time they get by pretty good, but an animal that's and cold that's the ones that times they're going to get sick. So if you got you can straw them and let them lay in the straw, or have a windbreak for your horses. It's great, you know. Most of the time the wind here in Idaho on our neck of the woods blows from the west, so, you know, if you can get just a west shelf wall up there so they can stand behind it, it's great.
Anything else you want to tell us?
Once they get wet, though, you know, it's just like these baby calves when they hit the ground. It's not bad when they hit the ground as if the mama dries them off, but you can't rely on mama to dry them off when it's really, really cold. You got to get out there and make sure they get up and going.
All right. Now, I know that we've been telling everybody that you have ID tags for the pets over there, the dogs, the kitty cats, etc. Very important in this day and age, and everything's right there at Ark Animal Hospital, correct?
Correct. And the other thing that we have that's been a godsend to some of these dogs is that there's microchips. Now, they are not GPS friendly yet. I think that's coming in the future so that you're going to be able to look up where your dog is on your phone. But right now, if you don't have a scanner, which all the vet clinics and all the shelters do, if you have a scanner and your dog is chipped, they can immediately, within 5 minutes, find out who the owner is.
Okay, anything else as we go into the fall and then winter of the year that you want pet owners and livestock owners to be aware of? Well,
Horses, worm them as soon as we get a good frost, a couple of weeks. The cattle and everything coming in now and being fed in the corrals and stuff, worm them, vaccinate them. Dogs and cats, I would tell you that this time of year there's a lot of dogs coming in the heat, and the males are all out chasing them. And the problem that we call this kind of a hit-by-car season because of the beat trucks and stuff, they can't slow down.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, watch your pets, make sure you got them tied up or whatever so that they can't run. The other thing, obviously, spay and neuter, and not just because I'm a veterinarian, and that's what we do for a living, but you know, I did a survey here back in my records here about 10 years ago, and about 90% of the animals that are hit by car are intact females or intact males. And why do you suppose that is? They're out running the streets.
Right.
You know?
Right. Well, I appreciate your taking the time to come on our program. Dr. Bill over at Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street in Heyburn, where they always say they have the warm hearts for the cold noses. Dr. Bill, God bless you. Have a great day.
You too, partner. We'll take care.
All right. Take care. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Really, really nice people at Ark Animal Hospital over in Heyburn. And right now we're going to send it back over to our main studio. We'll be back in about 3 minutes.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
I've said for a long time on this program that we had better get a handle on illegal aliens coming into this country and also the problem created by the influx of refugees into certain areas of our United States. Things are happening that shouldn't be happening. And we have a gentleman on the program right now that's a small business consultant, political activist, and writer. Let's welcome, if we could again on my program, Mr. Julio Rivera. Good morning, Julio. How are you?
I am fantastic and happy to be back on the ranch.
Well, it's my pleasure, and we've really got some serious topics to talk about this morning because I feel, and tell me if I'm wrong, Julio, you're not going to hurt my feelings at all. I feel like we're being overrun. I feel like I'm being disregarded as an American taxpayer, and I feel threatened that my country is changing. My country is being taken away with the value system that I was raised with. Am I wrong?
No, you're absolutely not wrong. I mean, this is kind of the Californication of America in a sense, because, listen, the civil society has ceased to exist in the state of California. They've gone full open borders, disregarding the rule of law. People are leaving California in droves, which is changing the demographics in some places. I was looking at some of the information. It looks like a lot of people that are leaving California are going to the Austin, Texas area, and it's kind of starting to change a bit. You're looking at some of the polls, some of the Beto Cruz polls are kind of interesting looking, and I think that's maybe being affected in some way by the exodus out of the state of California. So, no, this is really, really a bad situation, and obviously the news that came out last week is kind of a symptom of that.
Julio, when I start hearing of stories of what's happening in California with the filth on the streets, I mean, I've been to California, I can't even count the times. In my other occupation, as a professional announcer, I go around and announce special events all over the United States. And California, San Francisco, Sacramento, all of those towns, Los Angeles, I've been in, and there is a beauty to those towns that is now, I think, lost forever. And we're letting these people come into this country and basically desecrate it and throw it away, and the American taxpayer be damned. It doesn't seem like politicians care anymore, and they're giving the social amenities to these illegals.
Exactly, yeah. It's almost like it behooves you. Like it almost puts you, in some ways, in a more preferable class of citizen, because it's like, you could almost go ahead and commit crimes, and they have the whole catch and release policies when they should be detained and deport. I mean, these people have not paid a dime into our system, yet they reap the benefits, and everything that America offers on the back of legal citizens, working class citizens, many of whom do not necessarily live at much of a higher standard than these people that are just coming into the country. So I mean, I think that it's kind of disheartening. And it's funny. It's like, let's say, like this Texas thing that I'm talking about. Let's say all the people finally decide that California is too dangerous, and then they leave and they go to these other states. What are they going to do there? If they turn those states blue over a period of time, it's only going to turn to California down the road, and then they're going to have to pick up and leave. So it's like liberals just go places, ruin them, and then go to other places.
Julio, when we talk about the right to vote in this country, which I take as a real privilege and an honor as a citizen, and now that privilege and honor as a citizen is going to be weakened and basically thrown down the toilet because California is allowing non-citizens to vote. What right in my country, and it is my country, and it's your country, not theirs, what right do they have to sway and ascertain the people that are going to be in the legislative sessions of our country? They have no right to vote whatsoever.
No, they absolutely do not. They don't even have a right to be here. I mean, they should be deported en masse. I mean, I think we should go back to some of the common sense policies of Dwight Eisenhower and just go and get these people. We know where a lot of them are. I don't know why we can't just turn this into a smash and grab operation and get these people over the old Mexico border. And, I mean, like, this is just things that should be occurring. But it is scary. I mean, when you're talking about some of the things that California has done that are particularly insidious, I mean, obviously we have this failure by the Department of Motor Vehicles with, these voter registrations. There are issues with about the voter registrations of about 25,000 Californians. That's bad. And then we don't know if a lot of these voter registrations, they're registering people who should not be voting because of they're ineligible for one reason or the other, namely because they're in the country illegally. California's most recent version of the motor voter law went into effect in 2016, and some of the language that I was reading, looking at Los Angeles Times stories from the time, basically when you go get and the other even worse part about it is that illegal immigrants have been granted the ability to vote. So you're talking about a motor voter state which allows illegal immigrants to drive. Now they say that there's a fail-safe in that, they're not given the option to opt out, and they're not offered to go ahead and register it doesn't come up. Like the voting registration issue isn't supposed to come up. But when you're handling, now as of April, there's been 1 million illegal immigrants that have been given driver's licenses. I'm pretty sure human error And listen, I'm not from California. I've never been in the California DMV, but if it's anything like the New Jersey DMV, I'm pretty sure mistakes are being made on some level.
Yeah, but wait a minute. Let's back this bus up a little bit. With that ID, with that driver's license, my goodness, Julio, the sky's the limit as to where they can go, get on airplanes and do certain things, cash checks. I mean, that's an ID that I use and you use because we're citizens of this country. What in the world are we doing adding to more lawlessness by giving these people an ID to where they have control over us?
Exactly, and it says we make this big deal about foreign lobbyists in the United States of America and moving, whatever political influence that they can exert. I think allowing, millions of illegals into our country changes the political culture, because if we're going to allow them here, we're going to legitimize their presence by doing something like giving them a driver's license. Who's to say that they can't become politically active and, participate in the process? And, some of these battleground districts, there's some battleground districts in the state of California. You're talking about 25,000 potential voters that at least, and this is just all that we know. I mean, I'm sure that once a thorough audit is conducted, I'm sure that they're going to find more issues than we even know about. We're talking about an election that's weeks away. Some type districts could be, sometimes it only comes down to, a couple thousand votes in some of these places.
Absolutely.
We're talking about a house where there's going to be a rash of retirements coming in January. There's a lot of new people running. They don't have the strength of those incumbents. Very possibly, it can come down to the state of California and these issues.
Julio, I'm going to ask you real quick. We're having a little trouble trying to raise the volume. Are you on a speakerphone or a handheld?
Hey, can I switch that? Is that better?
Oh, that's 100 times better. Thank you very much. We have a caller with a question for you. Go ahead, caller, quickly, please. You're on the air.
Well, I do a lot of business with Hispanic business people, and they're just like me. They're hardworking, honest, and they want to maintain free market capitalism because every one of them is, out there to make a dream for himself. And when I see people from California there's people from California that are customers of mine up here in Idaho, and they're telling me what a hellhole Los Angeles has become. And he says what was the Beach Boys was California dreaming, so to speak, is turned into hell. And they've taken one of the most beautiful states in the Union, and they're destroying it in every way you can imagine. And fiscally, they're on their behind, and they have no intentions of starting to be fiscally responsible.
Right.
And people who are living right down in Los Angeles, in in the area down there, nice communities, tell me over and over again how it's destroyed and they had to leave and they're sick. And when does it end? And does Idaho pays its bills. California can't pay its way to do anything.
All right.
And I'm not bailing California out. I'll hang out.
Respond to the caller, if you would, Julio, please.
No, I think it's absolutely right. I mean, he's got it hitting the nail right on the head, because it boils down to, why do you want to work and live and purchase property in a place that's basically it's going off the rails? I mean, when we talk about if you make any money in California, they've got a 13.2% state income tax. So you're subsidizing this nonsense. You got Jerry Brown talking about Medicaid for all. They want to implement their own state socialist medicine socialist health insurance program themselves too. So it's only going to get worse. The prospects in California are pretty bad right now. And it's sad because I spend a reasonable amount of time in California and Los Angeles, in the Sherman Oaks area and everything, and I see it. It is a lot more dangerous, and people that I know that live there definitely echo that sentiment that it's taking a pronounced downward turn in California.
Well, Julio, when you look at the overall picture and go from the East Coast to the West Coast, and you start looking at what's happening with the liberal mayors like Bill de Blasio in New York, and of course Rahm Emanuel, absolutely a despicable human being in Chicago, and look at the so-called leadership and total lack of leadership, in my opinion, in California, my goodness, it's not going to be long, my friend, before the cancer that started in those states is going to spread all across our union. What in the world can we do to stop this?
I don't know. I mean, can we bring back Senator McCarthy from the dead? I mean, what are we going to do here? I think it boils down to that type of leadership. That's the turn that, a national legitimate party, the Democrat Party that's been around for hundreds of years, they're the ones that are doing this. This is the turn that they've taken. I mean, when you got Tom Perez saying that, Ocasio-Cortez, that's running in New York, the Democrat socialist millennial is the future of the party. I mean, that's pretty scary, because they're going to try to spread that around to more districts, more places across the country. I think that the influence of the California limousine liberals going to places like Texas is starting to change demographics. It's, they're going a lot to Colorado and other places throughout the country because they're seeking that financial benefit of living in those lower tax states. But then what are they going to do? They're going to take their money and they're going to invest it into liberal causes politically in their local area, and they're going to try to change it there. So it's an evil cycle where, let's say they leave California, they go to new places. If they have the ability to turn those places liberal, then they ruin it there. They're going to pick up the sticks and just go somewhere else because they have money. The people that get stuck and are truly victimized by this cycle are just regular working class Americans that don't really have the finances to just be able to get up and move, across the country wherever they, whenever they want to at their own whim. So, I mean, it really is a bad situation until they can purge the Democrat Party of these radicals and go back to being, the blue dog style Democrats. Then, I don't see. I mean, it's going to take things like this. Like, it's going to take problems in California. It's going to take voter fraud. It's going to take complicit mainstream media that continually demagogues, this president and stuff like that. Like, this is really a bad situation.
Well, Julio, I think it goes, and it's a fair statement, and if you don't think I'm fair saying this, let me know, but I think if people want to look ahead to the future of 5 and 10 years as to what a socialist United States would look like with democratic leadership. Look at San Francisco. Look at the suburbs of Frisco. Look at the human waste on the streets. Look at what's happening with Chicago with the shootings every single night. That is a socialist America that's already occurring.
Yeah, it really is. That's a scary look into the future. A dystopian American society where these radicals have seized power, and I think the worst. This is the remnants of Obama. I mean, I think that under Obama things have just got worse during that period. But at the same time, I think it was very eye-opening to a lot of Americans that had become disassociated with the political process, and then they found their voice in Donald Trump. And Donald Trump won, but this is the most critical midterm election probably in the history of the Republic, because literally the Republic is on the line. Because if this House flips, the articles of impeachment are going to be drafted almost immediately and introduced on the House floor, come January. They're going to try to move to get this president out, and they're apparently it's like they're going to go further left. Because I'll tell you this much: Barack Obama, before he became president, if you look at some of the speeches and some of the times that he took the Senate floor, he kind of sounded like a conservative. Now you've got this, people like, Jerry Brown and Ocasio-Cortez and these people. These people they basically sound like, Hugo Chavez. I mean, these people are dangerous to the constitutional system, and they're not even in the closet anymore. It's not even a hustle to get into power and then implement this stuff. They're doing it. They're on their megaphone screaming this stuff.
Julio, last thought here, but it's really an incrimination of our education system that we have young people that are following these stupid people, and she is stupid, like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Why in the world would anyone with any common sense and has any semblance of American history, its past and its present, why would they even think about following someone like her?
Well, I mean, I think the educators have become America haters. I think that it boils down to the teachers. The teachers are the ones that have this influence over the children. Obviously, families do as well. That's the reason why we've been able to effectively fight it back. to a certain extent. But, I mean, younger people tend to be liberal, but now that's gone from, having a little bit of, empathy, and, if you even want to call it, compassionate conservatism, for something, which I hate. I hate that term. I think it's stupid. But now they're going to, now it's gone from just being, a bit liberal to just being an all-out leftist socialist radical. I mean, I think that the dangerous part is that the educational system and the educators have kind of legitimized that thinking, where, yes, it's not it's not far-fetched to think that can happen in America now, and that's what they're teaching the kids.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll tell you what, man, if you ever get out here to southern Idaho, you better look me up. I'm buying you a steak dinner. Julio Rivera, thank you for being on the show this morning.
Well, thank you for having me on the ranch, and God bless you and your listeners.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, gentlemen. A small business consultant, political activist, writer, and editorial director for Reactionary Times, Julio Rivera. And believe me, he's going to be back on the show many more times in the future. Good guy. Real good guy. The weather forecast. Got to get that in here real fast. And it's brought to you by Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. The telephone number to call, 324-7657. Or you can go to their website, scarrosmeats.com. Now I'm going to stop right here and say, caller, stay with me. Don't go away. I'm going to do this weather. I'll be right with you. Don't forget Scarro's Meats with all the delicious meats, marinated pork ribs and tri-tips and prime ribs, and, of course, all the beef, pork, and chicken. Delicious. Absolutely phenomenal. Get a hold of them today, Scarro's Meats in Jerome. Right now, here's the weather forecast with Gina.
Looks like we're finally going to dry out today. Here's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. We do have a slight chance of rain showers in the morning, but other than that, we are looking at partly sunny skies for today. Winds out of the north, about 8 miles an hour. High of 51 is what we're looking at tonight. Patchy freezing fog, especially in the overnight hours. Mostly clear skies with a low of 29. That patchy freezing fog could carry over for tomorrow morning. We are looking at sunny skies with a high of 57 as we kick off the weekend. Winds are picking up out of the east at about 13 miles an hour. Clear skies for tomorrow night with a low of 31 as we make our way towards Saturday. Sunny skies and a high of 56. Mostly clear for Saturday night with a low of 26. Then by Sunday, sunny and 50. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. And the weather this hour brought to you by Scarro's Meats. Don Scarrow and the crew at 331 North Road, Jerome. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go, please.
Thank you, Mr. Bell, for taking my call. This is Shelley. I have a bone to pick concerning the what CSI is offering right now, such as a free class for both people that want to speak, read, and write the English language. And in a sense, they're actually accommodating the illegal aliens and refugees and illegal immigrants to come into our country and take over our jobs. Most jobs require nowadays you have to speak both Spanish and English. Well, that makes it rough for us who are U.S.-born citizens, even a veteran, to not be able to get a decent job, even though we can only speak English, and then we have to pay to take a college Spanish course to even learn Spanish, to even be equipped that way. But why don't CSI, instead of teaching for free to these illegal people to learn how to speak English, they should give a free class for personal hygiene for these people that are spreading diseases. Well, anyway, I resent the fact that the employers only hire people that can speak both English and Spanish, where English should be the main language for the U.S.
I agree with you, and I thank you for your call. And I'm down to limited minutes left, but I'm going to remember what you said, and it's very, very well thought out. Thank you very much for your comment this morning. Thank you. Bye-bye. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Mr. Bell. I don't get to listen to your program a lot anymore, but I'm traveling today and listening to you. I know you're a busy man, so I just have two quick thoughts for you. Number one is everybody listening to your show needs to open their Bibles today and read Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 2, which basically says that a righteous man leans to the right and a foolish man leans to the left. And the other thing is if you take the word American and the word Republican, and you take the last four letters from them, they spell I can. If you take Democrats and you take the last four letters, it spells rats. And that's all I have to say. I enjoy your show, and God bless you, and have a great day.
You know, I really appreciate your input. I'm smiling because everything you said is exactly straight up and the way it is. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. God bless you, man. Thanks. He's spot on. Spot on. I tell you what, there's so many things we're going to be talking about this next week. You don't want to miss the programs. I am livid, and I mean this, about people that are saying, oh, I don't want to get my children vaccinated. I'm telling you something, folks. I get really upset about a non-vaccinated personality or people that espouse not getting vaccinated. We're seeing an insidious rise of polio-like symptoms that have been occurring in various states. 38 cases. It's coming back. Why? Because the people coming into this country, probably from very, very poor health countries as far as shots, vaccinations, bringing it here. We're going to discuss this next week in its entirety. I want to say thank you to our Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. They are our major sponsor of our program, all 7 locations, with a great big fall tire sale going on right now. All the tires for all the cars, the pickups, the SUVs, the trailers, everything on sale. Save money, drive safely. Stop in and see them today. The best in brake service with highly trained brake technicians. I tell you that all the time. It is the truth. They are the best. Front end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, all of this with the best in service to you. They really take care of their customers. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and my buddy Randy on Overland in Burley, the best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Thank you, audience. Excuse me for that cough. Thank you, audience, for making this a great week with our great programming and guests that we had. I thank you for all your great calls. And we're going to take a couple of days right now, rest up, and be back here on Monday at 8:06 and start all over again. And on this program, you're the major part of the show with all your calls and comments. God bless you and thank you so much. We always say at the end of the show, the way things were are the way things ought to be, and the world needs more cowboys. See you Monday at 8:06.